Shalom Aleichem. Peace be upon you. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High Yah, Yahuwah, through His Son Yahushua HaMashiach. It's your brother, UncleK, and we're back with another one. I hope you're having a Baruch day, and I hope right now you have a sound mind and a sound heart. Now, before we get into the content, like the content, share the content, and comment down below. And if you're not a supporter, become a supporter right now. I just advise you to tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. So let's get into it. There's a reason why a modern man is extremely weak. It's the reason why testosterone levels have dropped significantly over the past few decades, right? It's because the man feels as though that he has nothing to fight for, right? You don't see a lot of men that look battle ready. Men don't look like warriors, right? A lot of men look like, they 7 to 9 months pregnant, ready to conceive a child. And, they bellies is, protruding out their t-shirts, man. They looking real out of shape, real out of pocket, right? They feel like they have nothing to fight for. So much comfortability. And we can't blame it on 9-to-5s, right? We can't blame it on jobs. You can't blame it on the workplace. We can't blame it that, even construction workers, even those that do physical taxing jobs, still may be having low testosterone, right? Still don't look built like, they ready to last. Don't look like they built like warriors, right? Because it's all about your mindset, right? A lot of people feel like they don't have nothing to fight for. And when you live in a Kodesh life, meaning set apart life, right, with the Most High Yah, Yahuwah, through His Son Yahushua, you know that you have a lot to fight for, right? Because you're going against principalities and wicked things, right? You're going against iniquity itself. You have so much enemies abroad, right? Everywhere you go, there's so much enemies. There's so much temptation. There's so much things that tries to make you stumble. So many things and so many roadblocks, right? So many trials and so many tribulations that you're going to have a warrior mindset. You're going to have to be ready to fight. And we're not just talking physically, but we talking spiritually and mentally too, right? You gotta make sure that you're a warrior in this walk, right? A lot of people really don't look like they have nothing to fight for anymore. A lot of people done gave in to be comfortable, right? And we know that the adversary, he uses a lot of women to soften up the men too, right? Women now, they're ruled by their physical bodies now. So, they give a little man a little cookie, and the man, he feels real calm and real collect now, like he don't gotta go out and work. You see, this man is not procreating, right? So the woman knows he's not procreating. The woman is just taking his essence so she could continue to go out and do what she gotta do. If she's out here doing whoredom, if she's out here, just trying to look like, some type of sex symbol or whatnot, she's going to take his vital life essence and go and do frivolous things with it, right? She's going to take his resources and go buy things with it, right? And that's how the modern man is looking right now, right? We're supposed to have high levels of testosterone during puberty up to our 20s and keep going, right? I don't believe in all that scientific nonsense where they say after your 30s, your testosterone drops 0.2%. I don't believe in that, right? Because I'm a 32-year young man and I'm built way more than a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old. They look real sluggy. They look real tired. They look real fatigued. And, it's not to say that a pre-workout is going to save you in this gym. It just showcases a lot, right? Your muscle mass. When you have testosterone, you have an adequate amount of muscle mass on your body. You have a lot of endurance. You have a lot of vigor, vitality. You're ready to go and conquer certain things. And we know that the Most High provided this hormone in our body so that we can continue to do the things that we have to do, right? That's why we give all reverence to the Most High, right? And that's the reason why, we get looked at the way we get looked at, because the times you're living in right now, man, is so frail. Man don't have drive. Man don't have vigor. Man don't have no vision. So without a vision, you perish. And it's extremely pivotal that we continue to stand for something, right? We got to stand as warriors, because we know that we're fighting in this society, right? We're fighting against these principalities, right? People are not fighting against these things. People are comfortable. People go to these congregations every Sunday and hear a watered down basora. They don't get taught. They don't get a proper lesson where they have to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? They out here after the service, they got a ton of food. They got a ton of bacon, a ton of catfish, a ton of shellfish, a ton of soda pop drinks and all that, and say, yeah, go dig in, get a plate, right? That's all it's about, right? It's all about making you feel good. It's never about revving you up in this truth, right? And that's why we continue to preach and continue to talk and teach, right? And learn edification, right? And give edification, because without this edification, without serving the Most High and Ruach and truth, right? And spirit and truth, you're not gonna feel like you got that fire in you. You're not gonna feel like you got that drive in you, right? And we know that a lot of people in this world, like I said, man, they don't have that drive. They don't have that poise. They looking real out of pocket right now, and we get looked at as a fierce warrior. Every time we walk into a destination, every time we walk into a crowd of people, we shift the whole entire room like a bunch of dominoes. You got the 3 and the 5 falling all over the place. The 2 and the 4 falling all over the place. You got the double numbers. All them dominoes just falling all over the place. You know what I'm saying? People are very reactive to a man that's built. A man that's ready to conquer something, right? A man that looks like he has something to fight for. That's why people can't really test you, right? With actions. These days people like to test you with emotions. People like to test you with a soft version of how a man is supposed to be. They like to test you in a very emotional state. The same thing that go on with these women, man. These women don't come across men with high testosterone just because the studies showcase that, or when an attractive woman come in a room, your testosterone goes at a peak. Listen, that don't mean all day long you at a high testosterone base. That don't mean that your testosterone is naturally high, right? That don't mean when doors are closed, when you're not around women, you still got that aggressive mindset that you in this walk, you in this truth, right? And women use these tactics because they don't come across strong men on a day-to-day basis. So when they come across you, they use a lot of emotional things, right? They tend to twist and frail their bodies left and right, try to get your attention with their backside, try to get their attention with their beauty or whatnot, and it don't work, right? Because a masculine man, he's real calm, he's real poised, right? You got to be calm when you're ready for this war, right? You can't be out here so emotional. That's how a lot of men are these days. Very emotional, very frail. They're looking like they 7 or 9 months ready to give birth, ready to conceive. They're looking out of shape. Then when they see a dude that's looking in shape, they real hesitant. They can't believe what they seeing. A lot of these people, man, back in the days, how individuals used to worship them bodybuilders back in the 70s, man. Individuals that was born in the 70s, now in their 50s, and individuals that was in that era of bodybuilding in the 70s or whatnot, when they used to praise muscular men walking back and forth, even though they was on anabolics. You feel what I'm saying? Those individuals was in their 20s during that time, right? So right now, that means they in their 70s right now, or maybe late 60s right now. So when you come past a lot of individuals that's been in those past generations, and they done tossed in the towel saying, I don't gotta be a man no more, I don't got nothing to fight for no more, I did my time, I got my pension, I'm getting my retirement and everything like that. Listen, a man of the Most High that's living a Kodesh life, that there's no retirement, right? Even if you want to go take a little vacation, you want to go somewhere, to get a peace of mind, you want to go by the waters, you want to go to a mountain trail or whatever like that. Listen, you still got that mindset that you fighting for something, right? You fighting for life, right? You fighting for truth, you fighting for righteousness, you fighting for the Most High Yah, Yahuwah, through his son Yahusha down here on earth right now, because he's in the Shamayim looking down, and he's looking down at his warriors. He's looking down for those that's in his image, that's going to stand for something, that's not going to be a pushover, that's not going to look weak and look timid in the midst of adversity, right? A man that's going to stand firm in his truth, right? That's why we can't stop going. We can't give up, man. We can't give up. It's the reason why the average man, he's cool with taking testosterone boosters. He be all up in the stores looking for, a testosterone booster, but, he's not changing his mindset. He's not changing his diet. He's not changing, his physical stature. He's not realizing that the times we living in right now, they're trying to demasculate men. They're trying to bring men down to his lowest form so he could be like Nebuchadnezzar, crawling all over the wilderness, eating dirt, eating insects and all random stuff, right? That's how they want the man right now. That's how they want the man submissive. They want the man to, tie everybody's shoes when they walk and somebody drops something on the floor. They want the man to bow down and kiss their shoes. You feel what I'm saying? It's too many weak men in this world, man. Too many weak men. And we're going to continue to stay set apart from these weak individuals, especially those that's not walking with the Most High. We're going to stay away from the individuals. Those individuals cannot be an influence to us in no shape, no form, right? And those individuals that want to know the truth, that want to get into the truth, then hey, guess what? It's strong meat, man. It's strong food to digest, and you got to be ready to digest it. And then you're gonna have to be ready to kick it up a few notches. All right, you're gonna have to be ready to shift them gears, man, and start putting in that work. Because when you live in Kodesh, man, you don't got time to be around those soft dudes. That's why you spend time by yourself. That's why you spend time with the Mashiach, to get to the Father. That's why you be in his scriptures, man, studying, showing yourself approved, right? That's why we gotta make sure that we doing the right things, man. It's a fight, man. When you got something to fight for, all levels is gonna be top tier. All levels is gonna be through the roof, right? All levels gonna be through the roof. I'm telling y'all, man, gotta stop worrying about these temptations and these bros, man. Get their priorities right, get their mindset right, because it's a battlefield out here, man. And if you're not recognizing that, then hey, guess what? You got that wool over your eyes. You're a little reprobated if you can't see it for what it is, man. Real talk. Because when you're moving masculine and you on semen retention too, and you following these laws, statutes, commandments, you got priorities, you got a vision. You see everything shift when you come into the presence of other individuals. When you come into businesses, you see how everything shifts. So that tells you something already, right? We're not out here looking at it for female attraction. Even if a woman is looking at you in the sense that she like what she see, then okay, so be it. She like what she see, cool. But that shouldn't be your motive. That shouldn't be your mindset, right? Real talk. Hope you got something from this message, man. Something edifying. Shalom, UncleK. Peace be upon you. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High Yah, through his son Yahushua HaMashiach. It's your brother, UncleK. And I appreciate y'all for tapping into another one. Like, share, comment down below. And if you're not a supporter, become a supporter right now. I just advise you to tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Y'all continue to have a Baruch day. Keep a sound mind and a sound heart. And I'll see y'all soon, Most High willing. But for now, peace.